You have just entered the bear crawling nation. This is Armadillos. Welcome to the other side of live.
Welcome to the other side of live.
Wait, it's not recording. It is recording.
Welcome to the other side of live. I am Armadillos. As the title bumper said, I am your host, and with me is my co-host, Charles from the Bear Crawling Nation. Charles, say hello.
Hello, people. I'm happy to be here. This is not The Other Side of Live. This is the Podcast Award nominated The Other Side of
Live. That's right. And we are not doing it like we normally do it. This time we are broadcasting live from the Bear's Den.
That's right.
In Monticello, Georgia. There's my boy right there. And I keep bumping the mic. So that is what is going on here. Now, I guess we're going to, I have my little notes on what we're going to do, but we're going to jump around a little bit. You brought up the fact that that we are Podcast Award nominated.
Yes, sir.
The voting is going on now as we speak. So I'm hoping that you have all been voting.
Podcastawards.com.
Under the heading of health and fitness. Mm-hmm. The last one, which is The Other Side of Live, I'm the last entry there. And of course, also in the general category, at the first selection is the Bear Crawling Nation, Charles's.
That's right. Bear Crawling Nation Live is up there. And we are nominated as well, so go vote. Vote
daily, vote often, and they will ask you to verify your vote. So you're going to have to go to your email and verify the fact that you voted. Otherwise, it won't count, and that's a whole lot of suck.
That is. And I've had it pointed out. It's interesting that they actually say you may be selected, but actually, from what I understand, everybody has to verify.
Everybody, every time. Every time I've done it, I've had to do it. So welcome everybody to the other side of live. We have a big crew going here. I'm looking at the chatter box. People are talking already. Last show we did was living happily ever after. And we got a chance to talk about what that means, why you would do it. Is that some fantasy thing, or can you use it to guide your life? What was your read on that last show, Charles?
Well, I listened to it, so I didn't get a read.
You were part of it. You were in the mix. You commented on it.
I know. I get where people come from. I think what we came to, happily ever after, is now. I mean, there's no ever after. There's no end. You always is happily. How we say? Somebody else in the chat room actually had a really good phrasing of it. It wasn't happily ever after. They changed it to happily every minute or something like that. Right,
because you don't want happily ever after seems to imply at the end of your life, whereas what we were saying was your happily ever after is now. Make sure it's a constant thing throughout your life. So that's what we talked about. And this episode is entitled Keep Calm, Carry On, where we're going to discuss some of the things that we've been going through, some of the things that have, the twists and turns that life may be throwing at us or whatnot. But before we do that, I'm going to go back to the podcast awards because I promised a couple of people I was going to mention them. We've actually gotten a chance to know some other podcasters out there who are also nominated. And I just began on my trip from Florida, which I'll get into later. My trip from Florida back up here, I was able to listen to Stuff You Missed in History. Ron Bauman, my good Tortuga friend, has mentioned them a number of times, and so finally I was like, all right, I'll listen to them. And they're very good stuff, weird stuff about history or weird stuff in history that we may not know. And their latest podcast, which I think was about D.B. Cooper, they mentioned that they were nominated for the Podcast Awards. And they are under education. So if you get a chance to check them out, there's an RSS feed in the podcastawards.com under education for Stuff You Missed in History. Check them out. Vote for them. I'm going to, as of today, which is when I voted for them after midnight today. So I did that already. I'm going to keep voting for them because I really did like their show. The other people that I'm going to mention is somebody that you turned me on to. They are called Secretly Timid.
Yep.
And they're a fun, it was like 4 or 5 people in there.
There's at least 3 pretty much every episode, and I think there's a 4th that is a regular, and then sometimes they'll have extras. But on
You've listened to more of that than me. What did you think? What is it? Really?
On this particular show, there's 4. There's 2 guys and 2 girls.
Right.
and they're all either going for a PhD or teaching in a college. But I mentioned this. In my experience with educators, you can tell they're a teacher. These guys, I thought they were just like us until I find out they're actually teaching college level classes or taking doctorate classes.
Right.
I'm like, holy crap. I feel smart now.
They're smart.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to stay at a Holiday Inn Express.
And they are my competitor. They are my competitor in the general category. And quite honestly, they deserve to win, too. I love their show.
Yeah,
Huge
fantastic.
Fan. And just not family. Well, I like how they say, like I said, they're family friendly if you're in my family.
Right. Well, what sets them apart from everybody? What makes them different? Spell it out.
I don't know how to spell that out. It's the honesty, it's just something you can really sense. The same thing we sense about you. It's the reality of life. It's not they don't put on anything. They're just naturally funny. It's the person in your office that you always want to talk to because they crack you up.
Right.
And they just make you feel good. And that's what sets them apart.
Yep. I listened to their newest show, which was called number 79.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it down somewhere. Number 79, and it's Lollipops and Armadillos is the name of the show. Very funny, very funny. But don't vote for them because you got to vote for the Bear Crawling Nation.
But if you don't
listen
vote
to
for
them,
me, vote for them.
Go ahead and subscribe to them. They're fantastic. Yeah. So those are the people I wanted to pimp out.
Yep.
Now keep calm, carry on. There's some things that happened this weekend. I went to. Well, before we get on to this, I'm going to throw out there because people yell at me when I don't. If you ever want to call into the show, the number is 813-413-7133. Because I'm here in the Bear's Den, Charles actually has it up. So you can see right there. You can call in anytime. If we're talking about a heated thing and we're not able to get to you, we will ignore you, so don't feel bad. But if you come in at a great time, we're going to talk to you because we like talking to you. Now, this weekend, I spent at my Tarpon Springs High School reunion.
Right?
Not my 10-year, not my 20-year, my 30-year reunion. That's right, chillins. I am older than dirt and loving it. Some of the dirt out there. It is my Sponger reunion, Tarpon Springs Sponger. That's right, the Fighting Spongers, or as sometimes it is said, Soak 'em Up Spongers. Yeah, they put that on stuff. I know, right? I know,
wow.
but it
anti-contraceptive.
What was your mascot?
I went to homeschool. I am my mascot.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, I'm Mama Tot. So I went down to there, but I almost did not make it because I had some car difficulties that cost me a bit of money.
Oh yeah, you didn't tell me about that.
And as I work on the weekends, so it means that not only is my vacation costing me money, but the fact that I'm missing work is also costing me money. So I was like, you know what? On Monday when I got the sticker shock of how much everything was going to be, I was just like, okay, I'm not going. And I talked to a few people, and they're all like, you need to go. This is your reunion. And by Tuesday, everything had mellowed out for me. And I decided to go. The same thing happened to me when I was about to go to New York because I'd gotten the cyst cut out of my back. And I was having complications with the surgery. It was internally bleeding, et cetera, et cetera. And I was ready for my doctor to go, you can't go. And in fact, I was like, okay, I'll get some work done. Everything's fine. And he's like, oh, no, you're going. So I went to New York and had a fantastic time. I got to connect with people I had not in many years, met some new people. It was great. And the difference was it taught me that what are you doing?
I'm talking to...
You're texting?
No,
You're texting while we're on the show.
I'm handling audio issues.
Show them this. No.
He's texting. Audio issues.
Look at this. He's texting while we're on the show. I'm bearing my soul, and my co-host, he's texting.
They can't hear us. They're having audio issues. I'm working with Rockwell to work out the audio issues. It's skipping, apparently. You have too many tabs open still.
All right, we're going to get rid of that.
I was telling her.
That's all you had to say.
I was telling her he's in the middle of a great story.
That's all you had to say.
I can't interrupt him.
Sure.
He's in a great story, and then you interrupt yourself.
Isn't that great? That's what the wonders of live. Welcome to the other side of live.
We're trying to take care of you. You won't even let me.
Oh, you're awesome. Where was I at? I don't know. They didn't hear the story anyways. So anyways, I went to New York, and it was a fantastic time. And I'm so glad I did. And that set me up for this because when I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't go, I remembered my trip to New York and went, no, I'm going to go. And I went, and the reunion was wonderful. In the beginning, I'm as always, I'm shy. Whether you believe that or not, I don't care, but it's true. Especially with people who knew me in high school because I was that nerdy little dweeby kid that got picked on a little bit, and I'm not saying, oh, poor, pity me, but some of that little guy is still in me. So I was nervous until things got rolling, and that first night, and everybody was so ingratiating, and I made some new friends and reconnected with old ones. And I just had a fantastic time all weekend. It was so worthwhile to me to go. And now I just realized that I love Tarpon Springs, and I want to move back there, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. But there you go. So keep calm, carry on. In the midst of all your trauma and trials, you know, you've got to be all right. You're going to be all right, and just figure out how to do that. And now I'm going to take a breath, and you can talk, Charles.
Well, before I carry on with the topic of the show, the stereotypes of high school reunions are you go back to shove your success in people's faces, or because you think that was the best years of your life, which I hate that. It drives me nuts when anybody says, high school was the best years of my life. You're the biggest retard in high school. I was. And I went to homeschool. I was still the biggest retard in high school. You know, I don't get that.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have a sister.
Oh, so she was smarter than you.
No.
She passed.
No. Oh, you said I failed?
Did your mama fail you? Charles, if you don't take out the garbage this week, we're going to fail you. You're going to miss history class.
But have you been to other high school reunions?
I've been to, okay, now I think I was at the 10-year. Or the 5, and then I was at the 20, and the 21 was the one that was really cathartic for me, because we'd been out of high school longer than we were together by that time. So all the cliques were starting to break up. You still had some of the popular people kind of hanging out, but I've also had a different situation with Tarpon Springs, Florida. There's a lot of families there with the Greek community, so a lot of people stay, and those that leave want to come back. So there is that kind of, there's a stickiness to it in a good way. So by the time I went back there, you're watching as people who would never have been friends in high school were starting to make friendships. And for me, it was very cathartic, because I got to go up to certain people and go, you used to pick on me, and I did it with a smile on my face, because I was really on my game. I was really having fun. And there was one guy in particular I got to go up to and say, you were another one of those guys that used to pick on me. He's like, I'm like, it's all good. But it was like, ah.
Now, what would have been funny is if you'd sent me in your place and I'd had Ricky Robinson there. You used to pick on me. How you like me now?
Yeah, really. Steroids is my friend.
Yeah. So the difference is you're seeing from the 5-year, was it still a little snappy, to now it's just, hey, this is a great, cool time.
And now everybody just wanting to connect, and everybody, we talk to everybody. And the problems that some of the people had that night, or those nights, were the problems that I had in high school, is that if you don't put yourself out there, other people aren't going to talk to you. So a lot of my shyness and a lot of my nerdiness and not being with any of the in crowd, I actually found out in my 20-year reunion, was due to me. You know, I lived next door to one of the popular kids from high school, and when we first moved there, they were like, come on over, have fun. Come on over and meet the kids. And there's a couple reasons we were just moving in, so we weren't able to do that. And then I couldn't get over my shyness to go over there. Maybe once in a while I would do it. But that family during the 20-year reunion had like a breakfast there, and I went there for breakfast, and they were so open and so ingratiating, and everybody there was so nice. I'm like, you know what, my high school experience was my fault. You know, I could have had a completely different high school experience if I could have gotten over my own shyness and myself and like, oh, they're just going to pick on me. Yeah, they picked on me some, but I could have brought something else to the table and it would have been different.
Now, do you find that sometimes picking on people is a way to bring them into the circle? Or is it almost
there's a hierarchy, you know, as you watch with animals, there's an alpha dog and an omega dog and a beta dog. And even amongst the Tortuga, I mean, we always trade places. You know, there's an alpha dog at time, and we all have that spot once in a while, but we pick on each other. It's a form of camaraderie. Friendships do that. So we're having small child come in and say hi.
Hurry up.
Come in and say hi.
You already know better than just come up and talk.
Come on in and say no. There he is. Say hi to everybody. Hi. Say hi. No, right there's the camera.
Hi.
Okay, now say goodbye.
Bye.
Okay, there you go.
Right.
That's your son.
I know, but he knows better. I might be on the phone. I'm doing the show.
His name's Oakland.
Yes.
He's named after a very bad football team.
I know. He's nice. Named after my grandfather. So, But yeah, okay, camaraderie and hierarchies and
Yeah, I think it's a natural part to everything. There's as Carlos Mencia says, friends mess with each other. Those are not the words he uses, but friends mess with each other. I think you can do it with a kindness. It can become really dark. It can become really mean.
Sure.
Especially if you mix it with being negative. You know, some people bond through shared adversity, and that's like, here's all my crap. This is what's happening bad in my life, and that's not good either. Eventually, as we get older and we want to deal with less of the drama, I think that you want the more positive. You want friends who lift you up, who want to help you be great, and you want to help be great. No longer, hey, I'm going to put you down so I look good and do the dozens and stuff like that.
That's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's
as we're getting older, I think we want to do that. If you can learn that at a young age, you're going to have a different life experience, and probably a richer life experience.
It's like the stereotype of growing up with brothers. I had a sister, and that's a whole not good story, but I guess. But I have friends I consider brothers, and brothers will be hard on each other, but it's not. To me, it's always kind of in a positive way. It's not, I want to put you down so I feel better.
Right.
It's you push each other to be stronger. It's we wrestle and push and fight, and we may get on each other.
And you learn how far is too far.
Right.
You know, like with a puppy dog, it will roughhouse with you and bite at you until it bites too hard, and then you correct the dog, and it learns, oh, that's too much, which is great to learn as a puppy until it becomes a big Rottweiler. Then it knows what's too much. Same thing with kids. Same thing with people. Hey, look, we can do this. But if you don't have anybody to bounce an insult off of, you might say something that's too harsh without knowing it.
True. I did that. I actually did that. I did that many times when I got out of high school, went to college, and was in the world, in amongst other people. They had their high school years to learn these.
You didn't have home college?
I hate you.
Don't feel bad. I went to junior college. My first college was St. Petersburg Junior College, and it was the town junior college. And I went back this year, and it's now a fully accredited college, St. Petersburg College. I'm like, what does that mean for? Oh, so.
But yeah, I had a few come to Jesus meetings with my friends. They're like, you can't do that. You can't be that way. And I'm thinking I'm being funny.
Right.
I mean, I would hit people because it was funny. It was a thing to do. And they're like, man, you hit me one more time, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because I never learned that.
Right. It's like the thing where people tend to pick on the Tortugas because it's kind of fun. And there was this girl that would pick on me every time I see her. And until I finally called her out and said, do you realize that all you're doing, all I ever see of you is you being mean to me? She's like, well, I was just being funny. I'm like, yeah, I get what you're trying, but that's all I see. To me, you're just this mean person, and I don't really want to hang out with you.
Right.
I thought I'd let you know that. Now, the Tortugas are just like a brother dynamic because we will pick on each other. We will bite at each other, whatever. But woe to the person who will enter that group and start picking on us. All three of us in a moment will turn on that person and go, oh, hell no. You will not talk to us this way, and shoot them all down. So there's that dynamic.
Kind of talking about that dynamic, it just popped in my head. Hecklers in a crowd.
Right.
I'm sure you've had your share.
Oh, yeah.
And I imagine you guys just turn on it and just really make it funny.
There's a few methods that you can do that, you throw out the funny barb and sometimes they'll shut up. Or if they keep going at you, you can ignore them. There have been times where Scaramouche Ron has stopped the show and go, okay, how many people want to listen to our jokes? How many people want to listen to this person? Mm-hmm. And then he'll say, see, be quiet or leave. And it just that usually really shuts them down. Then they know, okay, it's too far, and we just get back to it. It's a little bit of uncomfortableness, but the audience usually cheers them because then you can tell the audience has become uncomfortable. So, but reunions. We were talking about reunions.
We were. What did you go into this wanting to reconnect? Somebody, Alex, I think somebody put in the chat room that you leave high school, there's 100 people that you don't ever want to see again or don't care about, and then 10, 20 years later they're connecting on Facebook,
right?
And they're wanting to connect with you. And I've had a little bit of that through work and other things. I don't really care to hook up with you. You never cared about me when I was there.
Remember, as I talked about it, my experience was my responsibility. So the bad feelings I had for some people, they are the people who've come up and given me hugs going, oh my God, it's so good to see you. And I'm in the back of my head, you picked on me a lot, dude. But, or girls that I was too shy to talk to, so I thought, oh, you're a little bit stuck up. They're so sweet. And on Facebook, they're the dearest people. I'm responsible for my own experience. I'm responsible for my own belief system. I can either sit back and go, I'm not going to open up to you because you treated me bad, or I'm going to go, maybe that was my perception. and maybe that's wrong, and maybe I can get to know the man and the woman you are today, and share the man who I am today, and we can come from a different point of view and have a good time. So yeah, I've loved making new friendships with people I never would have been friends with.
And Margaret says here, maybe they grew up and realized they were wrong.
I think I can't speak for them. I can say I grew up and realized I was wrong. At my 20-year high school reunion, I really realized that. I was the one that kept me back. You know, sure, we've all grown past that. We're all in our 40s now. I like to say we're staring down the barrel of 50. We're so close we can smell the gun oil. You know, so the drama that was okay with the 20s and kind of there in the 30s, I'm done with that. And so are they. It's like, come on, let's just enjoy life and have a great time. And that's what it's all about. That's what this whole weekend was all about. It was fantastic.
Awesome.
You know, I love my Sponger friends. My Sponger family. You may laugh.
It's just funny the way it comes out, the Sponger family.
Spongers, yeah. I went all over that town looking for Sponger paraphernalia and whatever, and they're like, they sell it at the football game, but that's it, or at the high school games, that's it. I'm like, there's nowhere. So I have to look online and see if I can find some stuff. I'm
sure you will.
I will. I got some Buccaneer stuff, but that was it.
Hey, we don't use that kind of language on the show.
Oh, you're going to name your son, is that his middle name, Buccaneers?
Buccaneers?
Oakland Buccaneer?
There you go. You're talking about Keep Calm, Carry On.
Keep Calm, Carry On. Once again, 813-413-7133. All the stuff that you're putting out in the chatterbox, we're happy to talk to you. Keep Calm, Carry On was one of a series of posters that came out in 1939. And it was rediscovered in 2007, and so a company started putting them out. It was basically Britain put it out because they were worried about what would happen if they actually got invaded. So Keep Calm, Carry On was just one of them, and I would tell you another one. I'll tell you the other two real quick as I call up my...
Well, I think one of the things that I know I do whenever I start going through anything, it builds up. That's what it seems like in life. It builds up. We don't see the good building up. We only see the negative. And a few things have happened recently in my life. One was a deer tried to carjack my wife and dented the side of the car. You know, lots of damage, you know, monetarily. Just a bunch of my uncle's having issues, and he's in Virginia. I can't actually get to him to help him. You know, different things are adding up. And I've talked to you personally about it, and I've talked to some other people about it, of course, my wife. And I realized coming into this, I wanted you to take what the question is going to be. I want you to take that and run with it. But I know as humans, we tend to focus on the negative, because I turned right around and you did something really cool for me. You brought me this really cool podcasting book that, you know, I've been wanting. You know, you made it was really cool. It was cool. I mean, just you being here was really cool. You know, wife does good things for me. There's awesome people. I called Alex today. Alex had an interview on I wrote it down. Art Howard at Night. Howard at Night.
It was a great interview, too.
It was a great interview, and, you know, he talked about the Bear Call Nation, and it brought a tear to my eye, because it's really the first spontaneous promoting that somebody else has done, and I made sure to call him and thank him. And World Traveler Jim's working on an app for us, and it's all this stuff that people are giving to me, but it's so hard to focus on that, right?
Right.
Because I'm thinking, oh, all this bad stuff's happening, and I even told you, know, I just feel like nobody cares. And really, if you pull your head up just for a second and look around, you see it's those who don't. That I think that kind of played into it, is quit being so scared of the bombs, quit being so scared of everything that you don't live your life. What do you think about that? How do we get past the negative to see the sunshine?
I think you're absolutely right. It's all about perception. I want to just read these two posters, because then I can close my internet stuff and stop eating up bandwidth. There were two previous posters. One was called Freedom is in Peril. Defend it with all your might. And the next one was Your courage, your cheerfulness, your resolution will bring us to victory. And then the last one, of course, Keep Calm, Carry On, that we all know about. So all these posters were brought out. But in our own day-to-day lives, it's all about perception. It's all about, you can look at, you know, all of our problems as, look, the life is out to get me, God is out to get me, my friends are out to get me, or you can look at it, it's training for leveling up your life, training for getting to the next level. You know, and I think that is what it is. You're either learning how to deal with something, like we use the example of a flat tire. You're either learning how to change a tire, you're learning, okay, I can learn how to do this child tire and deal with it so that I can help somebody else who's had a problem with their tire. Or maybe the universe is throwing that at you so that you're not going to get in a wreck down the road. Or maybe it's somebody, God knocking and saying, dude, you've got bald tires. This is what happens. So it's like, oh my God, I'm sick and this is what happened to me and this bad thing happened. Well, did you set up that sickness? Or, this bad thing happened at work. Did you do something to cause that? And it's just, this is going to keep happening until you fix the problem, level up your life. It's all about perception. So if you keep looking at these bad things that happen to you, then as something that's out to get you, you're never going to do anything about it but blame other people. Now, true, there are some heinous things that have happened to people. I was sexually molested when I was very little. Bad car wrecks and et cetera, et cetera. You can use that for something. You can use that to help somebody else who's gone through similar situations. You don't have to be a victim of that anymore. So it is your choice. It is your perception on what you can do with that, even the heinous things.
And something I've learned about myself is I was built, the message, I was taught, the imagery I was taught was we all have videotapes. Nobody really knows what videotapes are, but we all have YouTube videos in ourselves that every message passes through. That when you were young, something happened, anything happened, you were told a negative word, whatever. Right. And so when you hit that same situation as an adult, it passes through that video, that filter, to this is how I respond no matter what. And mine was extremely negative on a lot of things. I mean, for a long time, I was open about it's me against the world. I mean, that's it. That's not an attitude to have, but it's me against the world. It's that Tupac, so I love Tupac. And I heard that in the movie, I think it was in Bad Boys, the first Bad Boys, or the second one, is all playing. It's him saying, it's just me against the world. And that resonated with me, and I carried that for a long time. To even now, when something happened, I was in a negative spot, that I was like, what now? What now? And I almost went, the universe is out to get me right this second. And then I went, that's no way to think of this.
Right.
This is a tool you didn't have 2 seconds ago that you can use for yourself. And it wasn't a negative thing. I just took it negatively, but I couldn't get out, even though mentally I knew that I couldn't get out of the negative mindset for a while. What you said a minute ago resonated with that for me, of 20 years later, you realize you were wrong.
Right.
That you held yourself back. Not to put the victim mentality, not it's all my fault. There's a difference between it's all my fault and I choose my destiny. We always choose our destiny, but that really stuck is, I'm the one holding myself back in the universe right now, in the negativity that I have. Even so, I had to realize that I'm facing the negativity right now. And once you realize, it's like once you realize you got a problem, you can start working on it. But I love what you said. I realized I was the one that was wrong.
Yeah, that changed a lot. I mean, even more up to date. And I've used this example before with my Tortuga brothers. I had some friction with Jeff at points, and with Ron. But with Jeff at some points, I was like, oh, he's picking on me, he's doing this, he's doing that. And then finally, I kind of realized, well, maybe he's just messing with you because he's being funny, because he's being your friend. And once I adopted that attitude, everything was fine. And that's when I realized I was actually being the jackass there, because I was taking things personally that weren't meant personally. They're just, friends mess with each other.
I have that issue, yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. And even if you can't take things too personally. You got to have a thicker skin, and we learn that as entertainers. Being on stage, people are like, oh, actors, they all have big egos. Well, you have to, because you have to be able to make it through the boos and the hissing and the jokes that flop, and you have to make it through, whatever else is going on, so that you can keep on, carry on.
I like Blue Flamingo says here, I don't think we choose our destiny. I think the choices we make lead us to our destiny.
There you go. That's nice.
Like that one?
Thank you, Blue Flamingo.
As long as you realize this,
one.
Yeah, as long as you realize it's about choices. Every choice. But something we were talking about you today a little bit. Not everything is permanent. Not every choice you make is permanent.
Right. Yeah.
That you can take 5 steps down the road and reanalyze. I think what we find is, this bad choice 10 years ago led me here. Well, yes, but it's not that bad choice. It was a series of bad choices after that, because you didn't stop to pay attention.
Right.
And
to
look
the warnings.
at your steps. Right. When you start, that's what I use for myself. When I start hitting that negative zone, when I start going, man, this crap's going on here, this crap's going on here, I go, okay, what am I missing?
Right.
I stop, and that's when I'm looking around the crossroads to see if I need to take a right, a left, get on the Tortuga bandwagon and ride around the country for a while, whatever it is, to straighten up my life.
When bad stuff starts happening to you, you can also look at them as, it's kind of like your idiot light in your car saying, hey, look, you may want to look at this. You may want to take a look at this. This is a problem. And then if you just kind of do a temporary fix and just fix the symptom, it's going to come back. Like, oh, I have to deal with that again. Oh, I lost my keys again. What's going on with that? Is A, you have to be present. B, you have to find a better place to put your keys. Maybe it's in the same place every time. Whatever it is, it's going to keep happening until you fix the problem. Your idiot-like keeps showing up. Wow, whenever I talk this way to a friend of mine, they get pissed off. Well, they're just being sensitive. Or you're being a jerk.
Yeah.
Figure out what it is.
Yeah.
You're responsible for what you do.
Exactly. We're responsible for what we do.
Right. So again, 813-413-7133. You too can have a guest spot on The Other Side of Live.
Do we say it like that now?
No, we didn't. The Other Side of Live. That's what it is.
Yeah, baby.
Keep calm, carry on.
But we're talking about life piling up, and it does seem like, does it? Have you? I'm a professional.
You speak for a living, don't you?
Has your experience been when one negative thing happens and a second negative thing happens, that then it just snowballs?
Sometimes it is. I remember watching, what was the name of it? The Replacements. And it was a football movie with Keanu Reeves, and I can't remember his name. He was in, anyways, look it up.
Well, it's a good movie.
Yeah. And he talked about being in quicksand, where you do something and something goes wrong.
Alex says Gene Hackman.
Yeah, Alex, the movie guy.
That's why he's the movie guy.
That's right, Gene Hackman. And it was a great movie. I loved it. It was a comedy. And he talked about it's like you're sinking in quicksand because you'll do one thing and something goes wrong, and then and something else goes wrong until you're just swallowed up by all the wrong things, and that you can't pull yourself out of it.
Oh my Jesus! Come here now.
We are now having more children.
This is the last time. You know better.
So good night.
Night.
Thank you. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. And tell your dad thank you for yelling at you on my show.
Talking about negative things piling up, now I'm pissed off. Because I raise my kids better than this. They know not to come into my office talking because I'm talking on the phone to my boss. They know that we do shows that I welcome them on. That's why they come up quietly.
Right.
I'm just frustrated as a father that they know better, but because we have a guest here, it's like, oh, that's not good enough. I'm sorry. That's my parenting for tonight. Thank you very much. Carry on.
See, what's important to do in a situation like that is you have to make sure that the audience realizes that something is going wrong. In this situation, the audience really hadn't realized that because they were very quiet and probably couldn't hear them at all. So all they saw was...
Oh, they heard them now.
So my advice, I think tomorrow that my affirmation is going to be keep calm, carry on. Keep calm, carry on. Yeah, and I can't fault you because people who work with me, my minions, my friends, they all know that I have my blow-ups too, unfounded. I have to come back and go, I'm sorry, I was a jerk, and usually they're like, no, you're right. I'm like, no, I shouldn't have spoken to you that way. So I have my moments where I have to be apologetic. I am often a jackass, although I'm working on it, and honestly, I think that. We teach what we most want to learn. So doing this show, doing the things that I do, it definitely calls me out on it. And if usually I'll do a vlog saying, okay, I was kind of a jerk, and here's me talking about it and being very transparent with you. So, we're all human. Keep calm, carry on.
But how do you get past the pile-ups? How do you get past the I mean, it's one thing, okay, that's one bad thing, the deer hit the car, we got car insurance, we can deal with it. And then, they call about my uncle needs a lot of help in the nursing home. Well, that's kind of a worse thing, but I can carry on to, then the next thing hits. How do you keep your head up to, because if you don't, I know, if I don't keep my head up somehow, that eventually you're going to get buried under this, and you're going to hit a breaking point or just not kill yourself, but quit living. You're just going to get that depression where you just don't do anything. You don't put out into life.
Right. Now, I think that one of the things that we need to realize is what we're talking about now is not the incidents that are happening. There's just incidents. What we're talking about now is our perception of them and our reaction to them, which is the emotions.
He's got the quote here. You're talking about Gene Hackman. You're playing and you think everything is going fine. Then one thing goes wrong and then another and another. You try to fight back, but the harder you fight, the deeper you sink until you can't move, you can't breathe because you're in over your head like quicksand.
I love the movie guy.
I do too.
He's right now, Alex, you're my favorite.
He is carrying the show for us right now. But that's an amazing quote and exactly what I'm trying to get at. How do you not get so low you drown.
Okay, get so low, get depressed, get angry. Depression is suppressed anger, so you're mad at something. We're all talking about emotions. And emotions are kind of like our warning sign of saying, hey, look, you're thinking negatively right now. You're concentrating, you're focusing on the negative. If you have any belief in the law of attraction, which I do, if you're listening to this podcast, you have to know that I do believe that. I do believe that what we think and feel affects the quantum field around us and helps create our reality. If you don't believe me, look at What the Bleep Do We Know, and a bunch of quantum physicists are talking about that. Anyways, our emotions are kind of like warning signs saying, hey, look, you're thinking negatively and you're going to bring more negativity to yourself. You need to find a way to think positively. So instead of thinking, this is what's happening to me bad, you can think, well, what is it that I really want out of this situation so I can focus on that? Now, if you're all overwhelmed with everything, like I was with all, my car problems, worry about financial, et cetera, all that stuff, instead of looking at all of that at once, I needed to break it down. Yeah. Well, this issue here, this car issue here, I can wait until later. And even my mechanic said, you're good for now, wait until later. And this issue here, I can focus on now. And this issue I'm going to work on so that I may be able to go and take my trip. So if you look at things one at a time instead of everything at once, if you baby step through your problems, you're going to be able to find your way through it. And it's going to help you to keep calm, carry on. And the thing is, if you're able to take your emotions out of it, or at least bring them down a little bit, you can do that through prayer, which helps you give that to a higher calling, your problems to a higher calling. You can do that through meditation, which helps you bring the emotions in check so that you can look at things logically and go, okay, I'm just going to have to deal with this and this and this, and this too shall pass. So, I mean, you're even the really, really bad things, it's easy for me to be glib and say, hey, come on, just keep calm, carry on. But if you're faced with suddenly you found out that you have cancer, that's a big deal. Mm-hmm. And you're going to have to take things one at a time because you're going to have to deal with the issues. And you're going to have to deal with your friends. And then you can try to look at things, go online, Google, and say, what's my next step?
The big picture. I'm a big picture kind of guy. I think 5 steps down the road. I think 5 years down the road. But in that kind of situation, the cancer... a little sponsorship tonight from Halls. But the cancer, we get overwhelmed by the massiveness of that picture that we get. Now, I want to read what Rock Girl says in the chat room. She's talking about the quicksand. You know how you get out of quicksand. You relax and hold still and think of a way out. And that works exactly for quicksand. Sometimes there's not a way out for the stuff you deal with in life. But what you said is what I've had to learn to do. I've had those financial situations come upon me where it's like, oh my God, the world's over. I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. The world's over. I've had to learn to breathe. Now, for me, it was a very short moment because I'm not that guy.
Right.
I'm the guy that goes, life moves forward. I'm not dead, therefore it's not over.
Right.
And what's next? So I figured that out, but that's what you have to do. You got to stop. Because I know for men, me, especially, but for men typically, we have to do something. I think it's human nature, maybe more in men than women, but I think humanly, something bad happens. We have to do something. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And the whole keep calm, carry on, and the whole thing that Angie is saying about just sit, that is the hardest thing to do. That's what I had to do with my uncle. I needed to be the power of attorney. But I'm going, what can I do? There's so much stuff I know that needs to get taken care of. I know there's so much stuff that if I were there, I could take care of. I had to go, well, what can I do? Well, I can do this one thing right now. Mm-hmm. And even though it burns me, even though it drives me crazy that I'm not acting, that I'm not actually doing, affecting, changing the world, I had to stop and calm myself. Not calm myself, I wasn't like panicking, but rest is what she says. You got to rest and look for a way out. I had to rest and go, which way is the way out?
Right.
What can I do and what can be handled?
Right.
Some things like cancer, that's a rest of your life thing for whatever long that is. Mm-hmm. We know people who've beaten cancer mm-hmm. and they had to take it. What's the next step? What's the next step? Because that's the little things that you can manage.
Right.
You break it down. I think Alex, actually, I think he got in a car accident not too long ago, like last week or something. And he still hadn't told me the details because he likes other people more than me, but that's okay. But, when that happens, you immediately go, what just happened? And then you stop. What can you do? Well, I'm fine. I'm going to get out of the car, make sure the other person's fine. Can my car drive? If it can't drive, I have to call it. But it's all little steps that you can control.
One thing at a time. One thing at a time. And if you can keep your emotions in check, also what you may want to do at some point is, what am I supposed to be learning here? What is the universe? What is God trying to teach me here? So that, if it's a small problem or even a big problem, what is I need to learn? If things keep enraging you, things keep pissing me off, well, maybe what you need to learn is how to deal with your anger. Maybe what you need to learn is how to deal with being overwhelmed, so you can figure out those steps, so that what you're doing is, again, as I always say, leveling up your life so you can take your life to the next level. That's what you want to do. So you can handle these little problems that keep coming at you. Jack Canfield in the Success Principles talks about having, dealing with problem. The problem is with these things, they're not very big, they're just bigger than you. So say that you're a first level person, you have a fifth level problem. And it's a big deal. Well, you level up yourself until you're like third level. It's not so big a problem. You level up to your fifth level, and then it's like par for the course. You become an eighth level person. It's a small problem. The problem's not changed. You've changed. That's what you have to do. So one of the things you can do when you're having all these things you need to deal with is, what do I need to learn here with my car problems? What do I need to do? Well, I need to find a way to, like Dave Ramsey talks about, is you set aside an emergency fund of $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever dollars, so that when you have this problem, it's not a problem. You've got your $1,000 that's going to take care of this.
That's what took care of the deer hitting the car. We had to pay our deductible, and we had it.
Yep, that's
and now we're working the small steps to get it put back.
Right. So you've learned that. So that lesson there was actually a good thing. Whatever it took to get you to that point where, so that I have these things in place so I can deal with this, so they're not a problem. So you've leveled up your life to the point where that fifth level problem is beneath you.
I think the point here you have is really great about looking back. You're looking back, and if you've only focused on the negative your entire life, you're going to look back and go, my life's been crap. But if you really have done anything to get past, if you look hard enough, I'm telling you right now, if you look hard enough, you'll see where you've accomplished something, where you've overcome something, where you're not doing the same thing today that you did 2 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. But it's the looking back that makes you say, I can get past this because I got past everything else.
Right.
What helps me the most is understanding, unless you're dead, life goes on.
Right.
So I'd learned this. I had to apply this to my wife, because she got a speeding ticket when we were first married, and I've been telling her, slow down, slow down, slow down. And she hated it, but she had to call me and tell me she got a ticket, and I blew up, made her life miserable, like you're saying. And I had to come back and apologize, because I asked myself, well, if it's me, what would I want somebody to say, or what would I expect them to say, or what would I say if I had gotten a ticket? Well, life moves on.
What would help her learn the lesson, and feel good about herself about learning the lesson? If you knock somebody down so hard, they're going to think, you're right, I am stupid. You're right, I don't learn my lessons. I don't. And that's not what you want. You want them to achieve. So you have to learn to support, especially a mate.
Right.
You have to learn to support them, lift them up, and goes, well, and even if she says, well, you told me, and I didn't. It's like, this is how you learn, baby. It's all good. I love you. It doesn't matter. And
I came back to her and apologized. I said, look, I'm wrong. I shouldn't have handled it that way. I mean, I'm acting as if the world's over because you got a ticket. Well, a ticket's a ticket. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't. It doesn't follow you the rest of your life. But it didn't matter if it followed you the rest of the life.
Right.
So what? Life moves forward.
Yeah.
That's the part of the carry on that you cannot avoid. We all know of people, at least if we don't know them directly, who didn't carry on, who've shut themselves in their house. They've given up. They're loners. They are depressed. And I'm not talking about clinical depression. I won't go into the medical aspect of all that, but I'm talking about the people that you want to just grab them by the collar and go, there's nothing wrong with you. Get your head out of wherever it is. Look around and see the sunshine.
Right.
It
sure is dark in here with my head up my butt.
Yeah, I love a t-shirt. little side note. I love this t-shirt. I'd love to be able to have it. It says, I'm trying to see life from your point of view. I just can't get my head that far up my butt. It's that's what really got me through everything, was realizing life keeps moving. So even if I lose my house, even if I lose my job, even if I lose my family, I still choose to participate in life or not.
Right.
Because as long as I'm here, it's going to keep going. And when I'm not here, guess what? It keeps going for everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And on that note, I'm going to say 813-413-7133. If you have any questions, if you want to interject yourself into this conversation, we welcome you. If not, that's fine. Charles and I, as you can see, can keep talking, and we shall.
Yeah, I think Rock Girl's referring to what he said, that my wife would have fainted if he said it's no big deal. So what? He did what she expected him to do, and I did. I did what she expected me to do at that time. I think now she would expect me to be more what you're talking about. Well, you know, it's life. You learn. Sometimes we have to learn. But the thing is, this also plays into it. Plays into we are responsible for our own choices. I didn't like learning from my hard lessons, but I knew that's what I learned. And I wasn't dealing with my own stuff. I wasn't dealing with the other millions of things wrong in my life. So I focused on the one thing that she was doing wrong right now.
Right.
You know, and again, years later, well, actually, it only took about five years later. But years later after that was, you know, I get it. I get that I deal with it. And now, even in this situation where in the last month, last 2 weeks, 2-3 weeks really, not so much a month, everything has become negative. It seems like it's touching everything. It's touching my work. It's touching my podcasting. It's touching my personal relationships. Then the one common goal in all that is me. I thought you were going to point out, because you like to point out where I'm wrong.
No. The one common denominator is you, yeah.
It's you. It's me, yeah.
Speaking of learning something, there's been a number of times where I have almost hit somebody. You know, you're stopped at a stop sign or whatever, a stoplight, and you look right and you look left, and you see you have an opening, and you start to go, and I've almost hit somebody. And I've heard about people doing this, hitting people. And I've done it enough times where I'm like, okay, please don't let me have to learn this lesson by hitting somebody. So what I do now is I stop, I look right, I look left, I see the opening. Before I go, I look right. Because what I don't want when I'm older and I'm not, you know, I don't have my attention as much there to be running over some kid on his bike who wasn't there. Because that's what's weird, is that who you almost hit wasn't there when I looked right.
Being present.
At all.
Being present. Do you really look right, or do you glance expecting to see nothing?
Yeah. And it's on that second look before I go. So, you know, I see my opening. Even if I lose that opening, I look and go, okay, and that's a lesson I've learned. So, and it's come, and I had to learn it, not the hard way, but it was still embarrassing. I have almost hit a couple people. And it's, I'm glad I didn't have to really learn that lesson. So if bad things keep happening to you, or you keep doing things that may, you know, something, you keep getting tickets, maybe it's a lesson you really need to learn. And this is the universe's way of going, look, I'm going to try to teach you this way, but if you're not learning it, this is what's going to happen. Next you're going to get in a, you know, maybe you'll have a fender bender.
And for lack of better words, I mean, I kept hitting people over and over again, not hitting them, but, you know, universally hitting people who said, you're just an asshole. So, yeah, I know. I'm good with that. You know, but I really wasn't good with that, but I thought they're being sensitive, or, you know I can be, but I thought I had a right to be an asshole for a while. And if I told my story, maybe some people would say that I did, but I didn't. You never have a right to take your trauma out on other people. But somebody's talking about they've taken 2 friends to the ER after suicide attempts. I've been up against that wall. I mean, only one time in my life did I consider killing myself, and I actually decided just to f the world over. Pardon my language. That was the moment. It was either take myself out or destroy the world. And I was at 13 years old, and for 10 years I was good at destroying the world, man.
Right.
And that was not a good. That wasn't life going on. That was just as bad. You know, that's. But then I get mad at people around me who talked about wanting to kill themselves, because I still didn't deal with it. And that's the being present. That's what you said, being present. My finances, oh my God, I was just overwhelmed. I can't believe I just don't make enough money. I'm dying. I'm starving. 10 years ago, had this Occupy everything been going on. I've been right out there. The man's keeping me down. That's not exactly what they're saying, but I would have been there saying, right, I can't make it. It's really
your fault.
Dave Ramsey, like you said, he really changed my world. And it was really the biggest thing I learned from him was being present. Know where your money's coming in, know where it's going out. To now, I feel like I'm a high roller. I'm middle America with what I make, but I feel like you act, to be honest. I mean, you don't consider money. You're like, yeah, let's go do this, we'll do that. I mean, you consider it because you know what you have. You're present. Right. I think that's what most of us aren't with our money. We don't know where it's coming in. We don't know where it's going out. We're not paying attention. And then we go, oh my God, how did I get into $60,000 in debt? You know, oh my God.
I thought I was doing so good, and yet I have huge credit card bills. Right. You know, and so now I have to deal with that.
Or even people without credit card bills go, oh my God, I had $30. I've done that. I had $30 cash, and I'm like, I go, where'd my money go? Not paying attention. I went to Starbucks, and then I took my wife over to the Chinese place, and then we went to Target. And, we'll pick up a few things here. Now and I'm thinking I got $30. I wasn't present.
Right. You just have to be. And this is not. I'm not advocating a consciousness of scarcity either. Oh, there's not enough money for me, because then you're going to begin attracting that, and you don't want to do that either. you know, but you also want to be a good steward of your money. So if you're a good steward of your money, then you're gonna attract more of that, and you're good with a little, good with a lot. T. Harv Eker says, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're bad with a little money, you're going to be bad with a lot of money. So maybe the lessons that you're learning right now with a little bit of money, if you have, I don't have enough money to pay my bills, is so that once you do learn those lessons, you can do it with a lot more money. So
and sometimes it's not about money. Sometimes the things that we deal with money is to teach us how to deal with life.
Right.
To be present with that. I know I keep doing this tonight right here, but I'm really doing it for all the females because he's all hunky and solid. Yeah. I keep touching you. I realize on the audio people won't realize. And I think it's because you're here. We've gotten to that point. It's like, look, I can touch you. Look, I'm talking. And it's just, I noticed I was doing it a lot.
Oh, I didn't notice until you brought it up.
I'm being present.
That's great. Kaylin, what was that book?
Interesting universal thing here going on.
Right.
I love Craig Ferguson.
Yes.
I think he's one of the best, honest comedians out there. Love his stand-up. Just a great guy that I've seen. I've not met him, but everything presented, he seems a really cool guy. I just had, actually I might still have in the house, his book, American on Purpose, that I didn't read. I didn't have time. It has to go back to the library. Universally, interesting, Alex just popped up here that Craig Ferguson in his book, American on Purpose, deals with the suicide thing, and that changed Alex's life. And that's something I've always tried to preach, because very rarely did I actually go through it. I always had to learn my own lessons. But if you can learn lessons from somebody else and not do them, that is the key to life.
That's why if you have to deal with a heinous thing in your life, something horrible happened, maybe a friend committed suicide, or like I said, the cancer thing, or whatever it is that you may be going through, it's so that you can use that to help somebody else. So there's I wish I remembered his name, and probably Alex is going to whip it out. There's the guy who was a motivational speaker that was born with I think no limbs, and he's Australian, and he's
SpongeBob?
No,
sorry.
And he's motivational speaker, Australian, and he's just like, he's used that to his advantage. He's not looked at it as, oh, I can't do anything. He's making buku bucks, having a great life, et cetera, et cetera. So no matter what thing that you might have to overcome, it's something you can share with somebody else to help lift them up as well. That's why we call this show The Other Side of Life, because what we're talking about here is the good things that are happening, the positive things that other people are doing and chasing and catching their dreams, so that if you see the possibility in somebody else's life, you're able to go, oh, that's possible, you can do it, that means I can do it too.
Exactly. I want to talk about this personally here. Chasing and catching your dreams, you need to find somebody, or just positive in life, just to get you through life. You don't need somebody who will tell you what you want to hear. You don't need somebody who is just going to stomp all over you all the time. You need somebody who's where you want to go. And meeting our Mordant Mon, I ask these questions because I feel like I'm representing the audience to a point of, I'm still on the edge of chasing and catching my dream.
Right.
Some people aren't as far along, some people are a little farther along, but you, to us, are living the dream. Your dream, partially at least. You're touring the country. You've got a job that you get to perform, that you chose.
Right.
You got to do that. You've loved that. You get to do this show here. You get to be out and have these experiences. You're, at least to some level, you're chasing your dream. You need somebody like this in your life. You want to be in a happy marriage, you need to find somebody who's in a happy marriage, or somebody who had an unhappy marriage and learned from that. You need somebody who's a few steps ahead of you always to help pull you forward. So
you can also see the possibility of it. Because if all you're surrounding yourself with is the negative stuff, you're like, oh, well, that's just the way life is. Life is bad out there. My friend, Ron is a real newsie, and he loves watching the news. And he gets so upset because I'm like, I won't watch it. I don't want to watch it. I like my politics because I like, I'm all about the American system and where we're going. And I'm very much, I don't care how you vote, just vote. But I don't really want to watch. I don't really want to watch on my show. You do, Sunshine. You don't talk like that.
We'll have that when it comes
We'll have that next year. We will indeed. But I don't watch the news because I'm like, I don't want that in my consciousness. That it's a negative world. That it's not a friendly world. That people aren't good at heart, et cetera, et cetera. There's plenty of that out there that's negative. I want to know that mankind really is a positive creature, and that's who I'm going to meet in my life, and I want to affect that reality around me. So that's why I have this kind of show, and that's why I don't really talk about the negative stuff, or try not to, or anything like that.
Oh wow, we just lost the. But we're still podcasts.
We are
We just
still.
lost the server.
All right.
That's okay though.
So I guess it doesn't do any good to say the phone number since nobody's there. We've lost everybody. I wonder if they're...
Rock Girl just hit me. She's like, "Whatever you did, undo it." He's on and off, and then
Are they
you
watching
pointed out
TV
that
downstairs?
thing. Probably not, actually.
Right.
They're going to work on some projects.
So
Anyway,
keep calm, carry on. We do a live show, and people, oh God, we have some such wonderful fans who always come in and who always try to stick it out. And the numbers are big, and then they drop because it's not the best experience for them. I understand that, but
they carry on.
in a live show, keep calm, carry on, because we are recording, and you can hear this with the podcast later on. So I apologize to the people who are finally coming back into the chatterbox. I apologize that we lost you, but we did lose you. But we still recorded, and I did not put out the phone number while you were gone.
Well, I want to reiterate, this is a podcast you can find on iTunes. And a lot of people, and some I want to talk about maybe in the next show, a lot of people seem to, in response to my talking to my kids, and in response to something you said too, people seem to be sternness is negative, or anything loud, anything angry is negative. And I don't believe that. Now I believe this is interesting line to walk down to. Anger can be negative. Anger is never good, don't get me wrong. So we'll talk about it on their show, but there are also limits and lines. And
we can talk about, if you can remind me about this, the positive of negative emotions.
Okay, there you go.
Let's write that down.
I feel like
Rock Girl.
Here you go. Yeah, Rock Girl. Write that down.
The positive of negative emotions. I don't want to do it for the next show because I have an idea for the next show, unless that falls
through. We'll get to it, sure. Because I just feel like there's lines. They know. And I don't think it's good enough. I think as a parent, it's good enough to, and as a friend, you do this for me, I do this for you. As a spouse, I do it for my wife, she does it for me. I don't think it's okay to let lines slide. I'm not talking about being a totalitarian and say, okay, if you did this, we're going to spank you every single time, or I'm not accepting. But it's teaching good behavior by mostly. And I'd love to hear a parenting show with you where you could just...
We have to bring on parents. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, you could also...
I'm Uncle Ricky or Uncle Mordant.
What I'm just talking about is you could honestly talk about your outside take on how I raise my kids. You've been around enough. But it's mostly positive reinforcement, but that negative has to be there sometimes. And that's why it came out tonight, is they know. They know not to do it. They know not to come up. So I saw reactions in the chat room. Someone saying, like,
right.
"Oh, they're your kid. This is just a way." I get it, but it's also just an hour of my day that they've had the whole time. Not today, they were gone, but most days they're here. They get me all the time. I'm a very involved father.
Right.
There's a line, so discipline is not a bad thing. No. That's, I guess, what I'm getting.
I don't think that is a bad thing.
The positive, I like what you said. The positive, negative emotions.
The positive of negative emotions. Okay. 813-413-7133. We're actually coming up on our hour now. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start pimping things out as we well, before I do that, I want to talk about something else. I want to talk about simpleenlightenment.com. My old friend John Davis, who is now a motivational speaker under John Davis Action Hero, has a website called simpleenlightenment.com, and it's where a lot of authors or bloggers or people like that who are talking about the stuff that we talk about.
Yeah.
It's not really just for people chasing and catching their dreams. It's all the positive stuff, positive affirmation stuff, etc. So there's a place where he's got a lot of us putting in blogs. I am actually allowed to put my video blogs up. I shoot some video blogs at them, and they've begun posting them. So if you want to find that, and I just talked to them too, they're actually looking at putting up our different podcasts under the different headings. They've got something for relationships. They've got something for spiritual. They've got something for mental, for health, physical. So it's simpleenlightenment.com, and I wanted to pimp that out to you because that's just another place where you can get more Mordant World.
And that's awesome.
Now, go ahead.
Do you find, I keep wanting to go into it, but do you find that, never mind, you know what? I think it'll be great for the positive and negative emotions.
Yeah, but say it now so we can remember it.
That people like yourself, like Simple Enlightenment, who are positive, I feel a disconnect personally there. And I personally felt it with you originally when you're super positive, Morning Mont. And I was like, but you don't. That's great. Don't get me wrong. That's great, but you're not where I live. And when I met you, I was in the negative.
Right.
You know, and it's like, so I find that disconnect, and that's why my voice, I try to not be negative, but put us into, well, this is where we are. How do we get from negative to positive?
Right. I think it's just an energetic thing. Whenever I've gone to, those of you who don't know, I've studied at Tao Garden in Thailand, a form of energy work. Whenever I go there, you know, there's the basic meditations that I know, and there's the higher level meditations, etc. They always do just the basic meditations in the morning, and I am just on the nods, falling asleep. Oh, I can't keep my eyes open for the simplest meditation because the energy level is so high. It takes me about a few days before I'm like, oh, I can stay awake. So if you're talking about somebody negative meeting somebody positive, they're not going to like them. They're not going to feel comfortable. It's an energetic thing until the energy begins to match. Now, matter is just energy at a high rate of speed. So everything is energy, really. Nothing is solid, really. So even emotions, energy affects things, affects us emotionally, affects us chemically, which is what your emotions really are, affects, you know, us energetically. So once you and I began hanging out, our energies began to match, so you were able to deal with it instead of going, oh, you're just full of crap and you're just a Pollyanna.
I could see through that you weren't. No, I could see through that you weren't.
Yeah, but not at first.
Not at first, no.
So that just takes exposure.
Well, one, I did honestly at first see the truth in you. You know, you weren't just a motivational speaker. If you like what you hear, come $29.99. You know, there was a truth in what you were saying.
However, I do have a book.
But the way you were saying it didn't quite catch me. And yeah, we matched to where even I will tease you now. As like, hey, you little frou-frou, you know?
Not frou-frou, woo-woo.
Sorry.
Frou-fru's different. That's what they called me in high school.
I was not that guy in high school, so I have to make up for time. So I will dunk your head in the toilet tonight.
Oh, swirlies will commence. Fantastic. Well, I think, yeah, we'll save that and we'll be able to remember it because we'll go back to, what did we say on that show? We'll save that for that show that's coming up.
Yeah.
If not, it may be the next show, but go ahead. You had something you want to say.
It's a private message to you, but I wanted the person who put it in to know we hear you and you're welcome.
Oh, okay.
And I'll keep it up so you can read it.
When I am calm enough, I will read it.
Yeah. So don't forget, support. The Mahan is the Mon. The Mon is the man. Podcastawards.com. Vote for the other side of life, health and fitness. Health and fitness.
Health under health and fitness. Vote for the Bear Crawling Nation under general. Check out
the things you forgot in history.
The things you forgot in history under education. You can vote for them. Or also Secretly Timid, which we love under general.
Yes.
But we're not going to vote for them because, you know.
And
we are vainglorious bastards, and that's what you have to do.
But we're sharing the love. Don't go listen to them. They're doing the same. They're voting for themselves and sharing the love about us. And if you're into faith-based teachings out of the Christian faith, not religion, but out of the faith, check out Beyond the Box. They're listed under religion. Good friends of mine. Love the show. I'm not a big religious person. Just ask anybody, but love that show. Check them out.
If you became a religious person, you would be a big religious person.
I would be.
Very tall.
Well, I do everything living out loud, man. So when I was religious, it was not good.
You were standing on the corner?
No, I never quite went that far, but it was pretty. I'm a preacher's kid, so you can imagine.
Oh yeah, brother. Oh yeah. Also, you can find us. You can find us on Facebook.com/Mordant World. Please follow us there, like us there, whatever it takes. Also, Charles at the Bear Crawling Nation. Facebook.com/
/ Bear Crawling Nation. Yes.
And of course, you can find him at bearcrawlingnation.com. You can find me at mordantworld.com. This podcast will be found there. It's on
iTunes.
iTunes.
Also, who gave us all our movie line credits today and got that great quote for us?
The Movie Guy. You can find him on 7th Row Center. A fantastic movie
opinion
podcast
discussion
about the movie experience. It's not necessarily about movies, but about the movie experience. And actually, I've been listening to some of them, and they are a lot of fun. And he
lies. He has no idea that the ship sinks.
He has more downloads than me, and I hate that.
But he deserves every last one of them.
Yeah, he does. Actually, he does. And the only reason that you haven't been nominated for the Podcast Awards is because you didn't have enough podcasting time. You'll be there next year, I'm sure of it.
There you go. All right, man. Take us home.
That's it. I want to thank everybody for joining us here on the other side of life. Oh, before we go, yes. I want to say that next week we may actually have a friend of mine who is
not next week, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. We may have a friend of mine who is a guest star because my trifecta of women's dating books are are
Playboy.
he's just not that into you. Patty Stanger's book, and she's from The Millionaire Matchmaker, and the 4-man plan. And I actually have a friend of mine who has been following and doing the 4-man plan, and she says she's having a lot of success with it. And I want to bring that up. It's kind of a women's dating night. So if you want to listen to somebody who's experienced it, if she's still having success in 2 weeks and she's still excited about it, I told her that we're going to bring her on and talk to her about stuff. So maybe that's what it's going to be.
If she doesn't, we'd like to talk to her to find out why she thinks she didn't have success.
Yeah. Well, then maybe we'll do that.
It's all
anyways.
about learning from what you did wrong.
Dating done right. Maybe that's what we'll call it. Dating done right.
Ooh, there's your next book, Dating Mordant Style.
No. Let me get the other stuff. That's a Serena Stone
I can just
thing.
follow you around on your dates and I'll write it for you.
Oh, okay. I want to thank everybody for joining us on the other side of live. It has been a fun conversation or dialogue with myself and my co-host Charles McFall. Say goodnight, Charles.
Woo, woo, good night.
All right, and ciao, dream catchers.
Hey, soul sister, ain't that Mr. on a radio, stereo, the way you move ain't fair to know. Hey, soul sister, I don't wanna miss a single thing you do tonight. Hey, soul sister, I don't wanna miss a single thing you do tonight. Tonight.